Okay, let's unpack this. If you're a golfer, you know the cycle. Autumn hits, the temperature drops, and the instinct is just put the clubs away.
Right.
Just wait for the spring thaw and sort of hope your swing magically comes back next season.
And that, right there, is the #1 strategic mistake. Our sources are, well, they're absolutely emphatic about this. The off-season is not a break.
It's a golden opportunity.
It's a golden opportunity, exactly. The difference between a stagnant golfer and one who sheds strokes next summer is decided, entirely by how they use the next few months.
Exactly. So this deep dive is all about giving you a complete winter golf blueprint. We are tackling that, that cold season inertia. We're going to give you the strategy to actively build a stronger, more consistent game. It's about showing you how the smart golfers are gaining that crucial edge by April.
And we're not talking about endless, mindless hours hitting into a net. We're structuring this around 5 core pillars. It covers everything from the physical engine and technical mechanics to gear and even mental fortitude. It's a whole integrated system.
Okay, so let's dive into that first pillar then. Building a smart routine, and this is the key part, using data to actually validate it.
Yeah.
The most common stumble here is either quitting completely or, just practicing without any structure, hitting balls until your hands hurt.
Structure is absolutely paramount. When we look at the high performers, they are not relying on these long, exhausting sessions. It's all about consistency.
So what does that look like in practice?
The recommended regimen is about 3 indoor practice sessions a week. And here's the key detail. They should be short.
Short? How short?
30 to 45 minutes max.
I like that. For the average person lifting, that feels really sustainable. But why so short? Isn't more repetition better?
Well, the research on motor learning suggests that shorter, more focused intervals are actually better for consolidating new skills.
Especially for something as complex as a golf swing.
Precisely. If you spend 2 hours trying to fix 5 things, you end up fixing 0 things.
Yeah.
You just fry your brain. The sources are clear. Set narrow goals for each session.
Like what?
Like, today is only about my grip position at the top. That's it. Or next time, I'm only working on the transition. You're minimizing the cognitive load.
So quality really beats intensity. It's working smarter, not harder. But that brings us to feedback.
Right.
Because the second major error here is relying just on feel. Those feel-good swings can, reinforce really bad habits if they aren't measured.
Exactly. You feel like you crush it, but in reality, you might have introduced a massive early extension to get that speed.
You have no idea.
You need objective data to get rid of that bias. The blueprint strongly suggests using AI feedback tools, like the Sportsbox is one they mention, to analyze your drills indoors.
Okay, that seems like a pretty big ask for the average golfer, diving right into tech.
Mhm.
Is an AI swing tool really a better investment than, say, just hiring a coach for the off-season?
That's a great question. And the answer is that the tools are a supplement, not a replacement.
Right.
But they give you that real-time feedback you can use every single day. The sources emphasize you should be recording a slow-motion swing, maybe weekly, and using app data to track your progress.
So the coach gives the instruction, and the tech measures whether you're actually doing it.
That's it. The tech ensures compliance and measurement.
Okay, so what should we be measuring specifically? The golf swing has a million variables.
Let's focus on 3 core metrics the blueprint highlights for indoor work. First, chest turn. Are you rotating enough against a stable lower body?
Right.
Second is pelvis sway. That's the lateral movement of your hips off the ball. Too much sway kills power and consistency.
And why does that pelvis sway matter so much?
It speaks directly to the kinematic sequence. If your pelvis sways too much, you lose your center, your axis of rotation.
Which forces you to compensate later on.
Right, leading to common faults like coming over the top or early extension, trying to find the ball again. The goal is rotation, not translation.
And the third metric?
Shaft lean at impact. Are you delivering the club with that forward lean, which generates power, or are you flipping it?
Measuring those specific things that really moves you from just swinging to actually training a movement pattern. It sounds really clinical.
It is clinical, but that's the point of the off-season. They talk about swing calibration sessions where you specifically measure things like early extension and side bend.
The stuff that causes injuries and inconsistency.
Exactly. So the takeaway is don't just hit balls. Train movements, measure the outcomes, and use video, mirrors, whatever you have to make sure the feel matches the real.
That's a great framework for the technical side. But the data is only useful if your engine is working right. If the AI tool says you can't get enough chest turn, that's probably not a swing problem.
It's a physical.
It's a physical one.
Yeah.
So let's talk about segment 2, training the athlete. not just the swing.
This is the second huge mistake, focusing only on technical fixes while ignoring the body that has to execute them. If your body physically cannot get into the positions you need, your mechanics will always break down, no matter how perfect the plan is in your head.
A better body moves the club better. That's the core idea here. So what's the goal for winter? Is it speed? Power?
It's stability first, then mobility, then speed. Flexibility and core control are the absolute foundation. They make your swing mechanics easier to repeat under pressure.
Without that mobility, you're just constantly fighting your own anatomy.
You are.
The sources break this physical training down into 3 parts. Let's start with mobility. Where should we focus those daily 15-minute sessions?
The rotational hotspots are critical. The thoracic spine, the hips, and the shoulders. For example, poor mobility in the thoracic spine, your mid-back.
Yeah.
It prevents you from getting a proper shoulder turn without, swaying or lifting your head. You need that part of your spine to rotate.
I can feel that instability just thinking about it. If I can't rotate my upper body, I'm forced to compensate. And that brings in all those bad metrics we just talked about.
It's all connected,
Sure.
exactly. Then you layer in the general strength. The blueprint suggests 2 to 3 full-body workouts a week.
The basics?
The fundamental movements, squat, hinge, push, pull. You're building a robust foundation that supports the swing, but also protects against injury when you start going full speed in the spring.
You're building a whip. The handle of your core has to be strong and stable before the lash can happen.
Perfect analogy. And the final step is golf-specific drills. Once you have mobility and strength, you use tools like resistance bands or medicine balls to train that rotational speed.
So you're simulating the swing.
You are. You're using a band anchored to a wall to practice your downswing transition, forcing your hips to fire before your arms.
And all this supports the mechanics the AI tools are measuring. If your data shows better chest turn and less sway, you know the physical training is paying off.
It's a completely integrated system. The technical work is the blueprint. The physical work is making sure the construction materials are sound.
Okay, let's pivot to segment 3, which is about the tools of the trade your equipment. Source point 4 hits on a simple but costly mistake. Playing with worn grips, bad shafts, or even the wrong ball.
The most basic fix, one people neglect all the time, is the grip check.
Simple.
So simple. If your grips feel slick or hardened or you see a wear pattern, just replace them now. Worn grips make you hold the club tighter, which kills your speed and your touch.
But the bigger time investment, the one that pays off huge, is a fitting. When should you schedule that?
The sources say to schedule it after you've made your physical gains.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, if you spend the winter adding mobility and getting stronger, the shafts that work for your old swing might be costing you distance now, so use the off-season to dial that in indoors.
And what about the ball? Most people think ball fitting is just for tour pros.
That assumption is getting just dismantled by data. The blueprint specifically says to test different ball models on a good simulator.
Because you get clean data.
You get pristine data on launch and spin. The difference between 2 premium balls can cost an average golfer a ton of distance or cause shots to balloon into the wind. Optimizing the ball is the cheapest way to shave strokes.
Okay, so we've optimized the body, the swing, and the gear. But none of it matters if your head isn't right. Let's get to the final element, the mental game.
The 5th pillar. And the big mistake here is waiting until you're on the first tee of a tournament to start thinking about your mindset.
Right, it's too late then.
It's way too late. The fix is proactive. The sources call it train your brain like your body.
How do you train your brain for golf indoors in December? That sounds a little abstract.
It starts with the visualization drills.
Yeah.
And this is more than just closing your eyes and thinking of a good drive.
So what is it?
It's mentally rehearsing perfect swings, your pre-shot routine, high-pressure putts. With all your senses. You visualize the smell of the grass, the feel of the club, the sound of the ball flushing off the face. You're building a mental library of success.
Okay, that makes it more concrete.
Uh,
But the sources also mention focus games, and specifically quiet eye training. That sounds like jargon we need to unpack.
It does, yeah. Quiet eye training is a proven method for improving concentration under pressure. It's about the final, sustained fixation of your gaze on a small target just before you move.
So in golf, what does that mean?
It means deliberately fixing your gaze on a single dimple on the back of the golf ball for, say, 3 to 5 seconds before you start the takeaway.
And the benefit of doing that is what?
It blocks out distractions. It stops your eyes from darting around, which is a common sign of anxiety. By practicing this focused gaze in your winter sessions, you are building a concentration muscle that becomes automatic in July when a 5-footer really matters.
I can see how building that into your short, measured indoor sessions just completely changes the quality of the practice.
It does.
And this leads right into routine development. The sources say to script your pre-shot and post-shot processes now.
Yes. Elite players do not improvise. Their pre-shot routine is an emotional regulator. By scripting your process, the steps, the thoughts, the timing, you create this unshakable ritual.
So when the pressure hits,
You fall back on the script. It minimizes reactive, anxious swings. The source confirms it. Elite players don't just hit better shots, they think better thoughts. And that mental game is a muscle they built in the off-season.
what an incredible framework. We started with the common mistake of just doing nothing, and we built out 5 pillars that turn the off-season from a liability into your greatest asset. The core idea is really true. The winter determines the winner.
Absolutely. While your competition is losing feel and confidence, you, the listener, you're going to be gaining clarity, power, and purpose. So here's the final distilled checklist from the sources.
First, structure your routine. Remember, consistency over intensity.
Second, track your progress. Use modern tools to measure those key metrics like pelvis sway and shaft lean.
Third, train your body.
Yeah.
Focus on mobility in your T-spine and your hips to enable that proper turn.
Fourth, optimize your gear. Schedule a fitting and test your ball after you've made those physical gains.
And finally, train your mind. Bring visualization and focus games like quiet eye training into every single session.
That's the blueprint.
Now, as you plan your training, take a minute and consider this. Which of those 5 steps, the technical, physical, equipment, or mental, which one is currently your greatest weakness? And use this blueprint not just to fix it, but to make that very weakness your biggest, most measurable strength by the time you step onto that first tee this spring.